starting to learn what every single head of state before him already fucking knows. George Bush, Obama, Biden, they all know that you cannot negotiate with Putin. Do you know why? Because Putin's interests directly conflict with American interests. When the USSR was broken up, a lot of those Eastern European countries, they wanted democracy. They wanted American freedom, baby, including Ukraine. Putin does not want those countries to have that. He wants those countries for himself. That's why he's invaded Ukraine. It's pretty fucking simple. But MAGA and Trump do not seem to understand that. In fact, if you fucking remember, it was your favorite MAGA influencer that was supporting Russia in the beginning of the invasion. And some of them were even paid by Russia State TV. Fucking traitors. False fucking patriots. Nothing boils my blood than these fucking three assholes. America is the shining city on the hill. And Eastern Europe wants democracy. And that is completely counterintuitive to Putin's master plan for Russia. You cannot negotiate with Putin no matter how much you kiss his fucking ass. No matter how much you roll the red carpet out. Get that fucking snake off of American soil.
Hello guys, welcome once again to the channel. I hope wherever you're watching, you're having a great time. Now, the other day we saw President Trump meet Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin. And in the meeting, they expected to address the whole question about the war in Ukraine. Russia has been hitting Ukraine with many casualties as it has been recorded. But then, even Russia itself has also suffered some losses. And therefore, it was just necessary for these two countries to find a way through which a ceasefire could be brokered. This meeting was happening in the United States, and many Americans seem not to have been impressed by it. In fact, many think Donald Trump is incompetent and is not having any faculties to qualify as being American president. He has had a lot of policy decisions that some people have criticized and some have seen as being irrational sometimes. And this is why in today's video, we want to look at some of the complaints that Americans are pushing around. They are saying that Trump is so incompetent that him being a president of America is a regret that they can't live by. Let's watch some of the clips that I've put together, then we shall come and share our final commentaries in the end.
You know what's terrifying? It's not just that Donald Trump lies, it's why he lies. Right now, he's out there pretending that American cities are crime-ridden hellscapes, that the statistics showing crime is going down are fake.
Police are manipulating crime data to downplay crime in DC. Will the administration release its own crime statistics to counter their misinformation?
Yeah, in case you missed it, that was a Lindell TV representative, and that's why I talk about Lindell TV.
They are giving us phony crime stats, just like they gave other stats in the financial world, but they're phony crime stats. And Washington, D.C. is at its worst point.
But here's the thing, the truth, the actual verifiable truth, the crime rates have gone down. That's not just some rumor, that's not from a blog, that's from police departments, FBI data, and the very agencies that run this stuff year after year. So why would he look you in the eye and tell you the exact opposite? Because if the facts don't give him the excuse that he wants, he'll just make new ones up. He's repeatedly done this too, with immigrants, with the LGBTQ community, and MAGA, you keep falling for it. He needs fear like fire needs oxygen. He needs you to believe that the streets are out of control, that there's danger around every corner. And the second you believe that, it sounds reasonable to send the military to take over cities in the name of safety. But this isn't about safety, it's about control. It's the oldest authoritarian trick in the book. Create a crisis, exaggerate it until it feels real, then swoop in and save the people from the monster you created. And then once you let that happen and you normalize letting a president use fake emergencies to send troops into American cities, you've handed over your freedom wrapped in a bow. Because here's the reality, the more you believe the lie, the more power he gets to make it real. And by the time you notice, it's too late, because you're living in a police state that we warned you about, a police state that he built. That's not leadership, that's a hostile takeover dressed up as patriotism, and we cannot afford to fall for it.
Hello everyone, I'm Linda, and I want to talk about the Trump-Putin Alaska Summit. Apparently Apparently, they've reached an understanding about ending the war in Ukraine. Good for them. I've talked to my partner, John, and we have come to an understanding about ending the federalization of DC. We've decided the National Guard needs to leave. The FBI needs to stop patrolling the streets. DC's sanctuary policies should be reinstated. See how easy that was? It didn't even take us the full 2.5 hours it took Trump and Putin. Do you think they'll do what I say they need to do in DC? Nope. Me neither. What if I actually had clout, like maybe the DC mayor or police commissioner? Do you think they'd listen to the plan? No? Me neither. Because we don't have the authority to overrule the federal government any more than Trump and Putin have the authority to make decisions for a sovereign nation. When my son was 5, I made decisions for him, things I thought were in his best interest. Now, at 33, if I told him I made a major decision concerning his life without any input from him, but, talking with my partner, he would laugh in my face. I hope Zelensky does the same. Bye.
Hell yes. Finally. It is about freaking time. Someone is standing up and fighting back. I'm talking about California Governor Gavin Newsom. He took the gloves off yesterday. I'm sure you guys saw it. We have been waiting for this. Now I'm going to play you just a couple quick clips, but I've got a lot to talk about here. But what is so great about this, from my perspective, is that the things that Gavin Newsom was saying yesterday are some of the exact same things that I have been saying for months, really since Donald Trump won re-election in November. He's saying and doing some of the exact same things I have been advocating. Hopefully now this will be a wake-up call for people. Hopefully this can be a pivot point, a turning of the tide. It is time to stop wringing our hands. It is time to stop sitting around going, oh, there's nothing we can do. He's a dictator. No, it's time to stand up and start fighting back. Let's talk about it. I'm going to go inside. Let's go look at a couple clips. Okay, I want to play a couple quick clips of Gavin Newsom from yesterday. Before I do, I'm hoping that the audio quality is good. I've been having some problems. I'm trying to get it worked out, but I'm not all that good with technology, as many of you know, so it's a bit of a work in progress. That being said, let's get to it. The first clip is Gavin Newsom trying to wake the American people up. Let us take a look. That's not what I want. This, here we go. Play.
Wake up, America. Wake up. You will not have a country if he rigs this election. You will have a president who will be running for a third term. Mark my word. I wasn't exaggerating when I said that I received in the mail a Trump 2028 hat from one of his biggest supporters. These guys are not screwing around. The rules do not apply to him. The most corrupt president in history. Doesn't believe in free enterprise, crony capitalism. He is wrecking this country, wrecking the economy. He's a lawless president. Wake up, America. Wake up to what's going on.
A freaking men. Wake up. This is what America needs. America needs to be grabbed by the collar and shooken the hell up and told to wake up. Wake up to what is going on around you. We can't afford for people to sit by passively, spending their time on TikTok and Netflix or whatever, oblivious to what's going on. And by the way, yes, I'm not bashing anyone who watches Netflix or is on TikTok. I do both of those things, by the way. You can use those things and still keep yourself informed. So whenever I mention this, people get all offended. But there are far too many people, that's all they do. They don't spend any time informing themselves about what is going on in their country, what their president, that many of whom voted for, is doing to their country and to them. How many people who voted for Donald Trump are going to lose their jobs, are going to lose their health care, are going to be denied fundamental rights? How many of them? And the scarier question is, how many of them will even know it? Well, they're going to know it if they lose their job and their health insurance. But in so many ways, we are losing freedoms in this country.
Trump versus Putin. It's like the Thrilla in Manila, but this time it's the Rancor in Anchorage. This is just another day. Today, Donald Trump met with Vladimir Putin in Anchorage, Alaska, in an effort to somehow end the bloodshed between Russia and Ukraine. It's a meeting that, frankly, shouldn't even be happening, mostly because of this.
As you know, I get along very well with Putin. I would tell Putin, gotta settle. I would tell Zelensky, you gotta settle. I would tell one, you're gonna load up with money. I'd tell the other, you're not gonna get any money. I would get a settlement in 24 hours.
Well, now it's August, and we are slightly past the 24-hour deadline, but who's counting? Except for the people who voted for Trump based on that campaign promise. The point is, today the President of the United States flew on Air Force One to Anchorage, which was the agreed-upon location for this meeting. It's on U.S. soil, so Trump likes it because he owns the turf, and Putin likes it because he owns Trump. Plus, afterwards, he can hit up the Crazy Horse Gentlemen's Club. Crazy Horse, if you're in Anchorage looking for a strip club, we're your only choice. Now, before either leader's plane even touched down, there were a lot of feelings being expressed about this meeting. Piers Morgan offered some words of encouragement, tweeting, "As President Trump lands in Alaska, I wish him the very best of luck in trying to secure an end to the horrendous war in Ukraine." It's refreshing to see a U.S. president who generally prefers peace to war. Unfortunately, Pierce's kind note was slightly undercut by the photo he attached, an AI pic of Trump wearing knee pads. Pierce was intending to say that Trump could get the job done, but the photos suggest a whole different type of job. But petty distractions aside, it was the warm reception waiting for Trump that would give him the confidence he needed heading into the summit. Okay, so maybe not the full confidence of the people. And thank God it's August. If this meeting were taking place in February, it would be one lone Yeti toughing it out in the streets. But there have been a lot of questions in the lead up to this meeting, some of which Trump actually took en route.
What will make a success of this summit today?
I can't tell you that. I don't know. There's nothing set in stone.
And that, my friends, is how you do international diplomacy. It's all about freeing your mind from the pressures of accomplishing anything. But, come on, surely Trump must want something to come out of this, right?
I want to see a ceasefire rapidly. I don't know if it's going to be today, but I'm not going to be happy if it's not today. Everyone said it can't be today, but I'm just saying I want the killing to stop. I'm in this to stop the killing. You know, we're not putting up any money. We're making money. They're buying our weapons, and we're sending them to NATO, and NATO's sending us big, beautiful checks. But I don't care about that.
Yeah, I don't care about money at all. That's why I brought it up, to illustrate how little I care about it. In fact, I constantly talk about being rich, getting rich, and having things only rich people can afford as a form of self-imposed suffering, so I can appreciate the stuff in life that really matters. My love of dance. Now, one of the major questions on everybody's mind, besides why wasn't Zelensky invited to the conversation about his country, is what's going to happen to all that land Russia stole from Ukraine.
Look, Vladimir Putin wanted to take all of Ukraine. If I wasn't president, he would right now be taking all of Ukraine. But he's not going to do it.
Ah, lowering expectations while still making yourself out to be the hero. If I wasn't president, Putin would take all of Ukraine, but as the world's preeminent negotiator, watch as I aggressively talk him down to just the parts of Ukraine he's already taken. It's worth taking a step back for a moment here to acknowledge that while we live in a highly divided nation, one of the things most Americans actually agree on is their dislike of Vladimir Putin.
What about views of Vladimir Putin?
Yeah, what about views of Vladimir Putin? I mean, this guy is hated across the political spectrum. Unfavorable view of Putin. Look at this. Among all adults, 88%. Among Republicans, 84%. Independents, 88%. Democrats, 93%. You rarely ever find Democrats and Republicans united as much as they are on the issue of Vladimir Putin. The bottom line is they don't trust him and they don't like him.
You can't get much clearer than that. They don't trust him, they don't like him. It's how children feel about Stephen Miller. But this is what makes the stakes of this summit so high. Donald Trump, the self-proclaimed leader of the free world, about to meet one of the world's most ruthless autocrats that America unanimously despises. Putin is a man who has wreaked havoc on one of our democratic allies and shown time and time again how little respect he has for the words of our president. And Trump has publicly signaled that he's done being Mr. Nice Guy.
I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him. but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all.
Quote, I'm not happy with the Russian strikes on Kyiv. Not necessary and very bad timing. Vladimir, stop.
Look at that! Some tough talk from Donald Trump. When you combine that with his experienced negotiating skills, art of the deal, I think we're about to witness, through body language, a clear message that this meeting is based strictly on necessity, not friendship. Or our commander-in-chief could clap his hands with the same degree of excitement of a dog who hears the garage door opening. I mean, my God, Trump wouldn't even share his umbrella with his wife, and she let him have sex with her once. How did it go when these two actually met? As I was saying, a meeting out of strict necessity, not friendship. Well, after a short photo op and a meeting behind closed doors, both men stood in front of their respective podiums and told us how it all went. Mr. Putin?
Today, when President Trump saying that if he was the president back then, there will be no war. And I'm quite sure that it would indeed be so. I can confirm that.
Ugh, come on. Do you really think Donald Trump is going to fall for that type of blatant ass-kissing?
Today, I've always had a fantastic relationship with President Putin, with Vladimir. We had many tough meetings, good meetings. We were interfered with by the Russia hoax. That made it a little bit tougher to deal with, but he understood it. I think he's probably seen things like that during the course of his career. He's seen it all.
Yup, I bet he too has continually brought up things as a way to distract from his involvement with the child molester. It is shocking, but not surprising, that Donald Trump fawned over Vladimir Putin today. Through every action he's taken since being sworn into his second term, it's clear that all Trump wants is to finally acquire his membership card to the Autocrat Club. I mean, think about it. If somebody told you that Putin was using the military to crack down on cities whose leaders opposed him, or that he'd fired his job statistician because the jobs numbers weren't to his liking, or that he surrounded himself with oligarchs who get kickbacks from his government, or that he repeatedly quashed any form of dissenting media, would you even bat an eye? Not a chance. So why would we expect our president to get mad at a guy who has everything he wants? That's like Matt Gaetz hating on R. Kelly. Donald Trump is supposed to be the world's greatest negotiator, but after everything, this has been the takeaway from today, and from Fox News, no less.
It was just very unusual, atypical, and I think we're all awaiting, the readout, because the way that it felt in the room was not good. It did not seem like things went well, and it seemed like Putin came in and steamrolled, got right into what he wanted to say, and got his photo next to the president and then left.
When you put it like that, it almost sounds like our president is completely ineffectual and this meeting was a global humiliation. The good news? Trump still got one weapon left in his arsenal.
Vladimir.
I regret my vote for Trump. Not me. I didn't do it. I voted for Harris. No, this is the thing I'm reading to you. Okay? This is a FAFO. We're FAFOing! Everybody welcome to FAFO. You needed one today. Voting for Trump in 2024 was the greatest mistake of my entire life. I am 19 years old. Well, kiddo, it's all downhill from here. Yeah, it is. It's guide predict. No. Yeah, no. Boy, that was a huge first mistake to make. It's okay. We're going to give you a little bit of a pass because you're young. Okay, I understand. It's a big pond to jump into, and a lot of times you don't even know if there's anything to grab a hold of. I hear you. And when you're that young, you get influenced a lot by people around you. Totally understand. But let's carry on. I am 19 years old, and this was my first presidential election. I don't stand by or condone what the administration has done, and never was a hardline far-right conservative. Sure as hell am not now. I walked into the polls in November without honestly knowing which candidate I would choose. Okay, no. Shh. I can hear you. We'll come. I'll be thorough, okay? we're going to carry on for now, okay? Since I was very on the fence about both sides. No, come on, stick with me here. Pro-2A, pro-life, but also pro-environment and pro-Ukraine. No, hang on. Now I wish I hadn't voted at all, much less Trump. Okay, sweetheart, you learned the wrong lesson. Wrong lesson. All right, let's double back. You weren't sure? You were on the fence? White. Yeah, no, we're gonna no, stop. Okay, no, we'll save it for the end. The lesson you should have learned, sweetheart, is to do the right thing, okay? It's not, wow, I did the wrong thing, so I'll never do anything right again, okay? That's a really narcissistic, self-defeating delusion to get into. It's gonna fuck with your brain quite a bit. It's gonna fuck with your self-esteem. Don't do that. Instead, go out and make it right. For example, the young man that we all saw get thrown against a fence by ICE officers, patted down while screaming, "I'm an American citizen," who was just walking while brown, voted for Donald Trump. Says it's the biggest mistake of his life. Says he was lied to, and is now doing everything he can to educate his own community that they were lied to. That's what you should be doing. Not this, "I'll never vote again." Oh, woe is you. You have a tremendous privilege. You clearly elected the wrong person. Use your privilege for the better good and do a better job the next time. Fuck. How hard is that? Don't try and rationalize my decision in your head. Oh, believe me, we're not. We're trying to figure out why you're so fucking dumb. Okay. Don't try and rationalize my decision in your head because it wasn't rational. Oh, I'm glad you recognize that. I did not properly weigh the potential pros and cons of the candidates. Okay. Self-awareness, I see you. There aren't any dots to connect. I flat out made the incorrect decision. Because white, I'm gonna guess. Just gonna guess it. White, gonna guess that. I feel evil. Self-awareness. Wow. I feel like a horrible, selfish, foolish person. Okay. It's good that you clocked that. And there's nothing that can really be done to remedy this mistake. That's not true. See, that's the problem we're in. See, you're so focused on yourself and how you feel about the mistake that you made that you can't mobilize yourself to rectify it. That's not accountability. If you want to actually say, I held myself accountable, then you actually have to hold yourself accountable by going out and doing the thing that corrects the mistake you made. Who didn't teach you this lesson? Bring your mom to the front. Let me have a chat with her mom to mom. I've already decided to vote a full blue ticket in 2026. Oh, thank God. Good kid. All right. He got, okay. He heard us. But that doesn't fix what damage has already been done to this country. True. So you're going to have to work your whole life to correct it. So stay on that, yeah? In our democracy, we give our small amount of political power to people who we believe deserve through that ballot. I need to take accountability for that ballot because even though my state was a safe red one this season, I'm ultimately part of it. Alienating our closest allies is stupid. Cutting PBS and the NWS is stupid. The tariffs are stupid. The blatant disregard for the Constitution is stupid. Detaining and deporting people without due process is stupid. Supporting Israel is stupid. Not siding with Ukraine and trying to exit NATO is stupid. Cutting education funding is stupid. All the warning signs were spelled out in Project 2025, plus Trump's personal life, plus January 6th, and my dumbass disregarded it instead of wanting change from the previous administration. I knew damn well, and I hate it. What pushed me to the red side of the fence was that Harris was the status quo candidate, and ultimately I wanted change. But boy, we sure as hell did get a lot of change. This populist line of thinking is dangerous and has proven to be in the past. Right. Argumentum ad populum is a logical fallacy. Appealing to the popularity of something is a logical fallacy. Just because a lot of people like it does not mean that it is valid. And you can see that from the Labubu craze. Anyway, I've been beating the shit out of myself about it ever since that day, and it's been difficult to genuinely enjoy most aspects of life with looking at the headlines. I, along with tens of millions of other Americans, made a massive mistake in November, and so many innocent people are paying a price far greater. I personally feel responsible for every idiotic decision, as well as the future decisions our President, Congress, and SCOTUS send out/approve. Like a twisted knife, the mental and emotional wounds will remain even after all this blows over. Oh, pobrecito. I see a lot of you talking about how you feel about what you did. Spend a little more time speculating about the misery that other people are going for. You talk briefly about the consequences, but don't spend much time contemplating that. I'm going to need you to do a little more of that. Why post here? I don't want to be associated at all with people who somehow still support our idiocracy. I also don't want to take part in the partisanship that is tearing the country apart. Bro, you already did. It's done now. Polarization already happened. It's done. It's already broken. It falls apart now. There's very little we can do to pull it back together. By doing this, you're participating in healing that wound, but you are still partisan. I don't get how you don't get that. You already did it. Alright, whatever. It's fine. And my conscience would have probably broken me from the amount of shame and guilt I've harbored since November had I kept it any longer. Had you kept what? Thinking about what you did? Do not tell me you're gonna fix the problem by ignoring what you did. What? I want to follow an actual centrist line of thinking, which is why I've been closely looking at this subreddit. Right, kiddo, you want to follow a centrist line of thinking? You're going to have to actually get in line with what centrism is. And not only that, you're really going to need to tangle with the fact that you've misinterpreted the Constitution. Because the Second Amendment talks about a well-regulated militia. You're still ignorant. Okay. Anyway, whatever, it's fine. Also, humility is going to require some humiliation. No. I'm sorry, but those two words mean different things. Humility and humiliation, different things. Humility is knowing when you're wrong and admitting it. Accepting the idea that failure is the only teacher. Humiliation is making someone feel terrible when they learn by mistakes. Different things. You do not need to humiliate somebody. And the fact that you fear humiliation means that you don't understand what humility actually is. We got to disconnect those two things. We got to disconnect them. Failure is the only teacher. Being humble is not something to be feared. Admitting wrongdoing is not something to be feared. The fact that we fear it is part of the problem. It's the narcissism of this culture. We protect ourselves from our wrongdoing instead of owning up to it. We got to stop doing that. So I fully expect and understand that this is going to lead to a lot of unkind words sent my way. Righteously deserved. I'll probably agree with what most of you have to say. Oh, look at me. Poor little me. I'm a bad person. I'll never do anything right. See how self-focusing that is? Yeah. The confession is worthless without a pledge to change. I was wrong, so unfathomably wrong. Yeah, no shit, OP, is what I imagine is cycling through most of your heads by now. And I want to amend for this. If I don't take accountability, I'm not going to see the change through. I want to be better. I'm voting all Democrat in 26. I hope we all do too, especially those who also regret their ballot cast. And I hope that I won't regret these votes as much as I regret my past one. Well, there's no ethical consumption in capitalism, my friend. There's no way to not regret your vote in the American system. So just get comfortable with the idea of saying, well, he did better than I thought he would. All right, well, I see you, and I am glad you are making proper steps in your character. I would question your feeling of self-defeatism. Like, you are clearly having some issues with your self-esteem, and I get it. There's a valid reason to feel that way. Do better. You're still a kid. Do better. And for all the MAGA out there who aren't children, who were unsure or on the fence, check your skin color. Are you white or white adjacent? Because the black woman was the most qualified candidate by far and had valid plans for everybody's best interests. Plans that are far superior to the ones that Trump had. You decided that you were on the fence about that decision. Wow. What made it that difficult? Was it that she was a woman or that she was brown? Or both? Because that's literally the only thing I could see in any way tipping the scale in Trump's direction, is that he was a white man. The accomplishments of women are always heavily distorted. The accomplishments of women of color especially. Heavily distorted, so you didn't know what she had done in her life and how much better it was than Trump. You didn't care, and you didn't seek to find it because in your mind, she couldn't possibly have value. Admit it, it was programmed in the back of your brain the whole time. You devalued all of her accomplishments and you elevated any of his mediocrity to the status of an accomplishment. I'm sorry, but your latent programming of misogyny and racism got in the way, and that is why you chose the wrong candidate and will continue to until you clear that bias. Okay. And you didn't like Biden because he was too old. So you voted for a man only 3 years younger than you, who has dementia and talks like a fucking teenage bully. A man who assaulted women. A man who openly joked about women. A man who bullies people every day, all day, who is obviously racist, who committed felonies, who stole classified documents, who's been bankrupted 6 times and counting, and who has stolen in excess of $1 billion from his fucking donors. Right. That guy. He was far superior, or at least on equal footing, with a district attorney who was the vice president of the United States. Sure, you can try all you want to try and make that seem like a thought process that makes sense, but no, your race got in the way. I'm telling you, racism was yeah.
Many Americans view Donald Trump as incompetent due to his administration's chaotic policy rollouts, marked by contradictory decisions and poor execution. His tariff policies, for instance, have been criticized for lacking coherence, contributing to economic shutdown, with consumer pricing rising 2.5% year over year, and job growth faltering, as seen in the July 2025 report of only 73,000 jobs added. Polls like one from Epinog in July 2025 showed 49% of adults feel his policies have hurt them, with only 25% saying they have helped, eroding confidence in his economic leadership. This perception of ineffectiveness has driven down his approval rating to 37% in recent Gallup poll, among the lowest in his term. Trump's dismantling of federal institutions has fueled perceptions of incompetence. As it's disrupted essential services, his administration's cut to agencies like the National Institute of Health and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration have delayed medical research and compromised weather forecasting, putting lives at risk. The slashing of FEMA workforce and programs, alongside our failure to respond promptly to disasters like the Texas floods, has left communities vulnerable, with reports of unanswered calls for aid. These actions suggest a lack of strategic planning and disregard for public welfare, further damaging his credibility. Americans are seeing Donald Trump run America in the most stupid way they can ever think of. Looking at his tariff policies, looking at some of the cuts or budgetary cuts that he has instituted in different parts of the federal government, they are finding out that he has targeted essential spaces where he should really put more effort in funding. And that is why many Americans think Donald Trump is fully incompetent. In fact, even his meeting with Putin, they think it was all a facade with nothing much expected to come out of it. His leadership style, characterized by vengeance and disregard of constitutional norms, has alienated many who see it as unfit for the presidency. Trump's firing of federal employees without due process, attempts to limit birthright citizenship, and impounding funds for woke programs violate legal and constitutional boundaries, as noted by legal experts. His public rhetoric, including threats to obliterate millions and inflammatory comments about immigrants, is seen as divisive and morally bankrupt, clashing with American values of compassion and unity. This has led to 58% of Americans, including 62% of independents, to view him as unfit to serve per Navigator poll. Trump's failure to deliver on campaign promises has deepened skepticism about his competence. Despite pledges to improve access to IVF and protect Social Security, he has not acted on this. While his big beautiful bill is projected to add $3.4 trillion in the deficit and strip healthcare from 10 million people, his administration attacks on programs like the SNAP and Planned Parenthood have disproportionately harmed vulnerable populations, contradicting claims of prosperity. Public disapproval is evident, with 58% disapproving of his job performance in the AP NOC poll, particularly on issues like healthcare, where he only has 34% approval rating. And this really tells you that Americans are not happy with what Trump is doing. They are looking at his promise to protect Social Security and what is happening right now, looking at how he promised that he would create jobs, and by the polls that were conducted in July, they are only finding out that the report shows that only 73,000 jobs were created in that period. This really becomes one of the lowest job creations for President Trump, and that has led to him having higher disapproval rating. Will Trump really survive? He has survived before, and I think he still has the constitutional mandate to lead Americans. Only that Americans will continue complaining and crying over and over again. But it is a decision they made by themselves. Nobody chose Trump for them. They chose him, and therefore they have to live by his decisions, because white America was told that Trump is not going to be the best decision that you ever made. But they thought it was all a lie, and people wanted to really have whites not capture what is truly and deservingly theirs. The truth is right now coming out, and everybody is crying everywhere. Trump's emboldening of extremism and erosion of democratic norms has led many to question his stability as president. His pardoning of nearly 1,600 January 6 rioters and dismantling of anti-violence offices signal a tolerance for political violence, alarming moderates and progressives. Many see him as a threat to democracy. This perception, reinforced by 2,000 protests against his policies in June 2025, has solidified views that he lacks the character and competence to lead Americans. This is what Americans are saying, and this is what they were warned about. There are those people who believe and think to date Trump is still doing a good job. I might not really have a point against them, because America is theirs, and they live in America, and they know everything that's going on. But majority of people who are online complaining, they are saying Trump is doing a shoddy job, and he needs to get off the office of being the president of the United States. Share your thoughts down in the comment section. And if you're watching us for the first time, please remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share. Thank you. Let's meet on the next one.